Kryptos is a sculpture by the American artist Jim Sanborn located on the grounds of the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, headquarters, the George Bush Center for Intelligence in Langley, Virginia. Since its dedication on November 3, 1990, there has been much speculation about the meaning of the 4 encrypted messages it bears. Of these 4 messages, the first 3 have been solved, while the 4th message remains one of the most famous unsolved codes in the world. Artist Jim Sanborn has hinted that a 5th coded message will reveal itself after the first 4 are solved. The sculpture continues to be of interest to cryptanalysts, both amateur and professional, attempting to decode the 4th passage. The artist has so far given 4 clues to this passage. The sculpture comprises 4 large copper plates with other elements consisting of water, wood, plants, red and green granite, white quartz, and petrified wood. The most prominent feature of the entire piece is a large vertical S-shaped copper screen resembling a scroll or a piece of paper emerging from a computer printer, half of which consists of encrypted text. That is located in the northwest corner of the new headquarters building courtyard, outside of the agency's cafeteria. The characters are all found within the 26 letters of the Latin alphabet, along with question marks, and are cut out of the copper plates. The main sculpture contains 4 separate enigmatic messages, 3 of which have been deciphered. In addition to the main part of the sculpture, Sanborn also placed other pieces of art on the CIA grounds, such as several large granite slabs with sandwiched copper sheets outside the entrance to the new headquarters building. Several Morse code messages are found on these copper sheets, and one of the stone slabs has an engraving of a compass rose pointing to a lodestone. The cipher's increasing complexity through the entrance into the courtyard is intended to be as if it were a fossil. Other elements of Sanborn's installation include a landscaped garden area, a fish pond with opposing wooden benches, a reflecting pool, and other pieces of stone, including a triangle-shaped black stone slab. The name Kryptos comes from the ancient Greek word for hidden, and the theme of the sculpture is intelligence gathering. The cost of building the sculpture in 1988 was $250,000, worth $660,000 in 2024. The cipher text on the left-hand side, as seen from the courtyard of the main sculpture, contains 869 characters in total, 865 letters, and 4 question marks. In April 2006, Sanborn released information stating that a letter was omitted from this side of Kryptos for aesthetic reasons, to keep the sculpture visually balanced. There are also 3 misspelled words in the plain text of the deciphered first 3 passages, which Sanborn has said was intentional, and 3 letters, YR, near the beginning of the bottom half of the left side are the only characters on the sculpture in superscript. The right-hand side of the sculpture comprises a keyed Vigenera encryption tableau, consisting of 867 letters. One of the lines of the Vigenera tableau has an extra character, L. Bauer, Link, and Mall suggest that this may be a reference to the Hill cipher as an encryption method for the 4th passage of the sculpture. However, Sanborn omitted the extra letter from the small Kryptos models that he sold. Sanborn worked with a retiring CIA employee named Edward Scheit to come up with the cryptographic systems used on the sculpture. Edward Scheit stated that the difficulty of the encryption was around 9 out of 10. He said that his intention was for it to be solved in 5 to 10 years. He also said that there was an intentional change in the methodology of the encryption. Sanborn has also stated that should he die before the entire sculpture is deciphered, someone should be able to confirm the solution in 2020. Sanborn stated that he planned to put the secret to the solution up for auction once he died. In August 2025, Sanborn announced that the K4 solution, as well as a prototype sculpture, encryption tables, and other related ephemera, would be auctioned by the firm RR Auction later in the year. Sanborn had stated that the sculpture contains a riddle within a riddle, which will be solvable only after the 4 encrypted passages have been deciphered. He has given conflicting information about the sculpture's answer, saying at one time that he gave the complete solution to the then CIA Director William Webster during the dedication ceremony, but later, he also said that he had not given Webster the entire solution. He did, however, confirm that a passage of the plaintext of the 2nd message reads, "Who knows the exact location? Only WW." The first person to announce publicly that he had solved the first 3 passages was Jim Gilligley, a computer scientist from Southern California, who deciphered these passages using a computer and revealed his solutions in 1999. After Gilligley's announcement, the CIA revealed that their analyst David Stein had solved the same passages in 1998 using pencil and paper techniques, although at the time of his solution the information was only disseminated within the intelligence community. No public announcement was made until July 1999, although in November 1998 it was revealed that a CIA analyst working on his own time solved the lion's share of it. The NSA claimed that some of their employees had solved the same 3 passages, but would not reveal names or dates until March 2000, when it was learned that an NSA team led by Ken Miller, along with Dennis McDaniels and 2 other unnamed individuals, had solved passages 13 in late 1992. In 2013, in response to a Freedom of Information Act request by Ilanka Dunin, the NSA released documents that show these attempts to solve the Kryptos puzzle in 1992, following a challenge by Bill Studman, then deputy director of the CIA. The documents show that by June 1993, a small group of NSA cryptanalysts had succeeded in solving the first 3 passages of the sculpture. All previous attempts to solve Kryptos found that passage 2 ended with Wested Barrows. However, in 2005, Nicole Friedrich, a logician from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, determined that another possible plaintext was Westslayer 2. On April 19, 2006, Sanborn contacted an online community dedicated to the Kryptos puzzle to inform them that he made an error in the sculpture by omitting an S in the ciphertext, an X in the plaintext, and he confirmed that the last passage of the plaintext was Westslayer 2 and not Wested Barrows. The following are the decryptions of passages 13 of the sculpture. The texts were added with blank spaces, but misspellings present in the text are included verbatim. The translations of the International Morse code, sometimes called K0, that are ascribed to the copper slabs when read facing the south, EE virtually EE invisible, digital EE interpreted it, EE shadow EE forces EE lucid EE memory E, T is your position E, SOS, RQ, between subtle shading and the absence of light lies the nuance of occlusion. IT was totally invisible. How's that possible? They used the Earth's magnetic field X. The information was gathered and transmitted underground to an unknown location X. Does Langley know about this? They should. It's buried out there somewhere. X. Who knows the exact location? Only WW. This was his last message. X 38 degrees 57 minutes 6.5 seconds north, 77 degrees 8 minutes 44 seconds west. X layer 2. Slowly, disparately, slowly, the remains of passage debris that encumbered the lower part of the doorway was removed with trembling hands. I made a tiny breach in the upper left-hand corner, and then, widening the hole a little, I inserted the candle and peered in. The hot air escaping from the chamber caused the flame to flicker, but presently details of the room within emerged from the mist. X. Can you see anything? Q. When commenting in 2006 about his error in passage 2, Sanborn said that the answers to the first 3 passages contain clues to the 4th passage. In November 2010, Sanborn released a clue, publicly stating that NYPVTT, the 64th to 69th letters in passage 4, become Berlin after decryption. Sanborn gave the New York Times another clue in November 2014. The letters MZFBK, the 70th through 74th letters in passage 4, become clock after decryption. The 74th letter is K in both the plaintext and ciphertext, meaning that it is possible for a character to encrypt to itself. Sanborn further stated that in order to solve passage 4, you'd better delve into that particular clock, but added, there are several really interesting clocks in Berlin. The particular clock in question is presumably the Berlin clock, although the Alexanderplatz World Clock and Clock of Flowing Time are other candidates. In an article published on January 29, 2020, by the New York Times, Sanborn gave another clue. At positions 26 to 34, ciphertext QQP Orange KSS is the word northeast. In August 2020, Sanborn revealed that the four letters in positions 22 through 25, ciphertext FLRV, in the plaintext are East. Sanborn commented that he released this layout to several people as early as April. In a 2025 letter to the Washington Post, Sanborn announced his plan to auction off the solution for the final passage, writing that he hoped the buyer would keep the fourth passage a secret, offering the following clue: "If they don't, then CLUE. What's the point?" Power resides with a secret, not without it. In an open letter in August 2025, Sanborn confirmed the existence of K5, which will come after K4 has been solved. On August 14, 2025, Sanborn announced that he planned to auction off the solution for the fourth passage on November 20th, for his 80th birthday. It is being auctioned off by Boston-based RR Auction and is presently expected to fetch a price from $300,000 to $500,000. In a letter to the Washington Post, Sanborn wrote that the decision to sell the solution has not been an easy one and acknowledged many in the Kryptos community will find it upsetting, but "I no longer have the physical, mental, or financial resources to maintain the code and continue his other projects." After producing Kryptos, Sanborn's first cryptographic sculpture, he went on to make several other sculptures with codes, including an untitled Kryptos piece and Cyrillic projector, which contain encrypted Russian Cyrillic text that includes an extract from a classified KGB document. The cipher on one side of Sanborn's 1997 sculpture Antipodes repeats part of the text from Kryptos, with slight differences. The dust jacket of the U.S. version of Dan Brown's 2003 novel The Da Vinci Code contains two references to Kryptosome on the back cover, coordinates printed light red on dark red, vertically next to the blurbs, is a reference to the coordinates mentioned in the plain text of passage 2, except the degree digit is off by 1. When Brown and his publisher were asked about this, they both gave the same reply: "The discrepancy is intentional. The coordinates were part of the first clue of the second The Da Vinci Code web quests, with the first answer being Kryptos. The other reference is hidden in the Brown Tear artwork. The upside-down text, only WW knows, is another reference to the second message on Kryptos. Kryptos was also featured in another of Dan Brown's novels, The Lost Symbol, 2009. A small version of Kryptos appears in the Season 5 episode of Alias, So.S. In it, Marshall Flinkman says he has cracked the code just by looking at it during a tour visit to the CIA office. The solution he describes sounds like the solution to the first two parts. It was also mentioned as Kryptos Donuts in the 6th episode of The Recruits Season 1, INSIL.